Hi, I'd like to thank you all for coming this evening and to hear a discussion on a topic that is still a hot topic and very controversial, which has been through the ages, and that is abortion. Most people have an opinion about it, but it seems to me that this day and age it's more just an opinion about some obscure conflict or problem in the world, and they don't really take time to look at the reality of what it is to have one and for those who are involved. So I would like to look at and reevaluate the issue of abortion, and I intend to show that life does begin at conception, and therefore it's a human being and not just a choice. To start off, I have to confess that I also used to be of the mindset that it was a choice. I bought into the whole, it's just tissue, it's not really a human being yet, it doesn't, it's the woman's choice because she's the one who has to care for it and yada yada. But now that I've had children of my own and have felt what it's like to have a life growing inside of me, my opinion has completely changed. So to start off with some statistics, since the Supreme Court ruling of Roe versus Wade in 1973, there have been over 50 million abortions in the United States alone. Some sites say up to 54 million. That's over 1 million a year, and that roughly translates to, if you took every war that the United States has been involved in from our beginning until now, Afghanistan, and took all of the casualties together, it would still be less than the amount of abortions that we've had here in our country. Another way of looking at it is that all the victims of the 9/11 tragedy, all the people's lives that were lost that one day, there's still more abortions done daily than that in the United States. The rates are higher in poverty-stricken areas or inner cities. In New York City, they're over 41% of all their pregnancies end in abortion. It's also higher among minorities, and it is estimated that in all of the United States, 52% of African American pregnancies end in abortion. And the thing that I found staggering is that 86% of abortions are done out of convenience, not because of a rape, not because of incest, not because of drug addiction, convenience. So I would like to look at some of the facts of what happens at conception. And so from the moment that conception takes place, all the 46 chromosomes are present at that moment, and that is the basic information that makes it into a life. At 3 weeks, there's a nervous system and a brain, and they've shown that the babies at 3 weeks can respond to pain. At 4 weeks, there's a heart, lungs, face. At 7 weeks, the baby can respond to touch and voice. And at 8 weeks, they have arms and legs, fingers, toes. They begin to stretch and yawn and suck their thumb. And this is 8 weeks. And so most women, when they're pregnant, and I can speak for myself, when you're 8 weeks, you usually don't even know yet. And so most women have the abortion after 8 weeks. And it's already a little baby sucking its thumb. Here recently there was an employee of Planned Parenthood who has left their establishment and has gone on record talking about some of the things that she was involved in there. Things such as lying to their clients, telling them, the lie that it's not a child, it's just tissue, And she actually believed and bought into this until she was asked one day to come in and assist for one of their abortions that was going on. And when she stepped into the room, she saw on the ultrasound monitor, as they were going in to do the procedure, this tiny little baby was trying so hard to get away from this instrument that was going to kill him. The baby was over here and over there and running and trying desperately to save its life. So here I'd like to point out, you know, there's lots of surgeries that go on every day, and there aren't any gallbladders that run from a scalpel. There's no tonsil that tries to flee when they're trying to be cut out. Those are tissues, organs. They don't have the capacity to try to get away. That's what makes it different. Another thing that people don't really talk about is the emotional outcome. And a study was conducted, and it showed that women who have an abortion are 160% more likely than women who have not to be institutionalized or to seek psychiatric treatment in their lifetime. Some women were questioned, and 8 weeks post-abortion, 44% experienced nervousness, 31% sleep disturbances, and 46% regretted their decision. So, I'd like to just have a little analogy here and talk about the fact that in ancient civilizations there were many cultures who believed in sacrificing their babies, their children, and I don't think that they did this out of meanness. I don't think that they thought that they were doing something wrong. In fact, they were doing it to their God, and so they probably felt that they were doing the right thing. And I'm sure if you ask anybody on the street, they would think that this is a horrific, unthinkable thing to sacrifice a child. But I would ask everyone to maybe reconsider that thought, that basically we are sacrificing our children by allowing abortions to take place yearly. And one final thought. During my research, I ran across a fact that one man came upon, and it was the crisis that we're in right now in our country with the Social Security, and more people are taking out the Social Security than are putting into it. Had those children not been aborted, they would now be in their 30s and mid-30s and be paying into the system, and we'd have plenty of money for Social Security. So on that note, I'd like to thank you all for listening to this grim subject, but hopefully we can all just think a little bit more about it and educate others. Thank you. Are there any questions? Yes, ma'am.
How do they really know when an unborn child feels pain or can respond to touch?
Well, they know that it responds to pain and touch really from doing the ultrasounds that pregnant women go to. As they're trying to find the baby, it might hit them, you know, and kind of nudge them a little bit, and they can see it on the monitor that they're disturbed by it. They've also done some studies where they take the amniotic fluid, and they can somehow look at the hormone levels that are present from the baby, and they've registered cortisol, which shows the stress. So that's how they're determining that. Any other questions?
Yes. Why are abortion rates higher in poverty areas?
Well, actually, the founder of Planned Parenthood in the 1920s is on record saying that birth control and abortion is the best way to clean out a race. So, since Planned Parenthood is the primary leaders in the abortion industry, they actually target those areas. They target the poverty-stricken, the inner city areas, the minority groups. They go in there and they try to get them to have them. Thank you all.
Thank you.